Hey, what's up, guys? So I know I said last week that I was going to do a spoiler review of Spider-Man in about a week, and hey, it's been about a week, so I'm going to go ahead and do a spoiler review of Spider-Man Homecoming. So if you have not seen the movie, do not watch this video unless you don't plan on seeing it. If you don't plan on seeing it, I don't know why you'd want to watch this video. But anyway, here it goes. I'm going to go through all the cool things about the new Spider-Man, going into spoilers, everything like that. So, gonna try to make this quick. I said that in the last video. It didn't work out too well, but we have a lot to talk about. So first off, I want to go into the fact of the beginning of the movie. I think it is so cool how they had Peter Parker vlogging, essentially. And, of course, that hits home for me, because I used to vlog a lot. If you don't know, I previously vlogged for over 400 days in a row, but I think it was really cool. It kind of gave you a different perspective because they showed him vlogging during Civil War, when he stole Captain America's shield, because I always wondered, where did he come from? Like, was he just hiding behind something waiting? And we kind of get an answer for where he was during Civil War before he flew in, and the whole reveal where he had Cap's shield, everything like that. So I thought that was really cool, how they opened it up, and we get happy. We get happy in there, and he's a great character. So basically, as you know, if you've seen it, Peter Parker has to kind of report to Happy, and he's always calling him when he's doing all these little things like, "Oh, I stopped the bike thief today, and the lady gave me a churro," and everything. Like, he really wants to be an Avenger, and it's like they're just kind of like, you're just a kid, do these little things, you know, as Tony Stark said, don't do anything I would do, don't think anything I wouldn't do. There's a gray area, that's where you operate. So I thought that was really cool, because in all these superhero movies, you see the superhero and immediately this huge villain they have to fight and this huge problem. This guy's just doing this little street level thing, you know. He's just and he's a kid. He doesn't know really what to do, you know. He's just kind of trying to just go around the streets and just kind of help people where he can. And I think it's something you don't see a whole lot in superhero movies. So I really like that, you know. I really like that they didn't just go straight into big villain territory. They went into him just trying to help out. Now into the movie, I'm going to skip around a little bit, trying to kind of stay chronological. One of the things I also really liked about this movie, first off, Ned Leeds, his best friend, is Genki. I know Genki is a Miles Morales Spider-Man character. I am aware of this, but just call him Genki. He looks like Genki. He acts like Genki. He builds the Lego Death Star like Genki. He is Genki. Just call him Genki. He's Genki to me. He's not Ned Leeds, he's Genki. I believe Ned Leeds is a comic book character that at one point becomes the Goblin, because everybody gets to be the Goblin apparently. I think that that's right, but don't quote me on that. But the way this character looks, everything down to a T, it is Genki. So as far as I'm concerned, to me, he's Genki. So anyway, at one point in time, it is storming. At one point in time, he is going to reveal himself as Spider-Man at a party and say he knows Peter Parker, and I'm glad they didn't do it. I'm glad he didn't get a chance to do it, because I feel like in Amazing Spider-Man, where he punches Flash Thompson, the original Spider-Man, and then in the Amazing Spider-Man, where he does the thing with the basketball and everything, he shows off. I feel this is better, like he wants to do it. He's a kid, but he sees something going on in the distance, and he goes and addresses that. Instead, he does the right thing. He doesn't show off, everything like that. So Ned Leeds, though, is Genki, in my opinion. We have Cindy Moon in this movie. So we have Silk. She is Silk. Cindy Moon is Silk. So that's another cool thing. Flash Thompson, different take on the character. I loved it because I know, like, Flash Thompson always plays this, oh, I'm a macho jock guy. And that's how he was in the comics, but we're not in the 60s anymore. And really, do they still exist? If anybody in high school watching, are there still jockey football guys who are like the king of the school? I don't know if that's how it works anymore, but they're at a school of higher learning that has science. I think some sort of scientific institute school, high school sort of thing. So it wouldn't make sense that there's this jockey football player that's an idiot. So he's actually a smart guy, and he's on the academic triathlon team, I think is what it is. Anyway, different take on a character. That was really cool. I also want to talk about the AI in the suit. So when he gets his Spider-Man suit from Tony, it's just kind of an updated suit. So it seems, it fits better. It's not like this homemade suit. It's good, but there's all this computerized stuff that's locked, called the training wheels protocol. And as you see in the trailer, he does access it. They bypass all the security. Him and Genki, yes, Genki, they bypass the security, and he actually is able to use the AI in the suit at that point in time, which he didn't know existed. I think is really cool that the AI in the suit, he calls it Karen, which isn't anything from the comic books, I don't believe, but it's voiced by Jennifer Connelly. Now, Jennifer Connelly in real life is married to, actor's name escapes me, the guy that plays Jarvis. So I think that's really cool that the voice of Jarvis, which was the original AI for Tony Stark, his wife is the voice of the AI for Spider-Man. And of course, he has a Tony Stark and Peter Parker connection thing there. I thought that was really cool. I feel like they had to have done that on purpose. That's pretty big for it to be a coincidence. But anyway, he uses that. He saves all his friends in Washington, D.C., that was an amazing sequence, the whole Washington, D.C. thing. Didn't really have a whole lot to do with the rest of the movie, but that's okay. I do want to say this Spider-Man movie has done something that Spider-Man 3 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 couldn't do, which is actually have a lot of villains in one movie. Now, it kind of did and it kind of didn't, because really what you're getting is the basis of some of these other villains. So you have the Vulture, of course, as your main villain. Now the Vulture, his whole thing is that they were him and his cleanup crew, or construction crew, whatever they do. They're cleaning up the aftermath of the original Avengers, the destruction of everything and all the Chitauri junk that was there. They were cleaning it up. Now, the thing is that they brought in, I guess S.H.I.E.L.D. brought in what's called damage control. Another thing from the comics. Damage control to clean it up, and they lost this big job, and he still had a bunch of this alien tech. So he and another villain from the comics, the Tinkerer, was in there, and they were making all this stuff from this tech because they feel like they were robbed and they deserved it. So of course he makes this Vulture suit, and they use these weapons to rob banks and stuff, and Peter Parker witnessed a bank robbery, and his favorite bodega got destroyed in the process of it. He saved the cat, though. It's okay. There was a cat in that bodega, because all bodegas apparently have cats. Never been to one, but that's what I hear. But he saved the cat, so I'm glad. But anyway, so that's your main villain. Now you also have, who's working with the Vulture, the Shocker. The Shocker didn't do a good job. So he got killed, and then there was another Shocker, and can't remember the name, but it's the Shocker from the comics. Trust me on it. You have Scorpion in there. He's not Scorpion yet, but he's working with him. You see him on the boat scene. You have the Prowler, which was huge. All right, so the Prowler, if you don't know, his nephew is Miles Morales, who becomes Spider-Man. And he even says, when Peter Parker's getting information from him and everything, he goes, You know, I understand where you're coming from. I have a nephew. I wouldn't want him in danger either. So I like how they didn't say the age of the nephew, because that leaves it kind of open to when Miles Morales, because at this point in time in comic timeline, Miles Morales would be like 5 or something. But of course, this is the MCU. They're not going to wait 12 years. Hopefully, that I won't wait 12 years to do a Miles Morales storyline. So they might change that up a bit. I understand that. So one thing that's cool is Peter Parker's love interest at the time where he decides he doesn't want to be Spider-Man, because of all these bad things that are happening, and Tony Stark getting mad at him, taking the suit because of his inability, his kind of going behind Tony Stark's back and doing things, like with the boat incident where that almost destroyed the boat and killed a bunch of people. But Iron Man came in and saved the day, took the suit from him, and he was like, I'm just not going to be Spider-Man. They show this whole montage of him, just building the Lego Death Star with Genki. Yes, Genki. And he asked his love interest to the dance. Now, she says yes. And everything's cool, and they go to the homecoming dance. They're there for maybe 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. It's called Spider-Man Homecoming, but that was kind of just a slap to the face to Sony. Like, yeah, he's home now. Anyway, he finds out when he goes to pick up his date that this girl's dad is the Vulture, and he is just in shock. And as they're getting drove to the dance, his Liz, I think is her name, keeps mentioning all these things about Peter that makes the Vulture be able to put together that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So after she goes in the dance, he stops, at the car. He keeps him in the car and talks to him and says, look, I'm going to give you a pass on this. Do not pursue me any further, and we're okay. Take my daughter to the dance, have a good time. Peter Parker can't do that. So he goes, he gets his Spider-Man suit, and he puts it on. And I said this was going to be short, I lied. And he leaves the dance. And of course, the Vulture's not an idiot. He had somebody waiting outside the schools of the dance to make sure Peter Parker wasn't going to try to Spider-Man things. And guess what? He did. He Spider-Man things. He got his old suit that he had hidden underneath a locker. He had to lift up this whole set of lockers to grab it. I don't know why he hid it in the school, but I guess since he had the new suit, he just hid that somewhere else. But so he then goes, he has his fight with Vulture. One of the things I really like, but I feel like there's a missed opportunity, was when he was underneath the rubble. The Vulture basically was shooting things around Peter Parker, and Peter Parker's like, oh, I'm too quick for you, and he's like, I wasn't really aiming for you. And this bunch of rubble falls on him, and he's trapped, and he's crying, like literally crying. And I feel like that's such a real emotion that if you're new to the superhero thing, you're not used to this, that's got to be terrifying. You are trapped, you are stuck. I'm claustrophobic. I would be freaking out. He's crying. And I just feel like in his head at that point in time, he heard Tony Stark's voice. Why not Uncle Ben? I know they didn't even mention Uncle Ben, but at this point, that's just been a perfect time to just bring him up. Everybody knows about Uncle Ben. You don't have to go into the backstory. We don't have to see the guy die anymore, but that's where that voice should come from. I feel like Aunt May was underutilized. Uncle Ben, as I said, they didn't mention him. They mentioned Peter Parker said something about going through a lot recently or something like that after what happened, but they never even mentioned Uncle Ben. His relationship with Aunt May is not really there, which I don't think Marissa Tomei did a bad job as Aunt May. I just don't feel like they made her as important as a character. This is the whole reason he keeps his secret, is for her protection, and she's not even a factor in the movie. Feel like that's a missed opportunity. But anyway, he does, of course, In the end, he saves the day. He does not kill Vulture. Vulture does not die. Vulture goes to jail. And someone says to him, you must know who the identity of Spider-Man is. Now, he does know, but he says, if I knew, he'd already be dead. So I like that he knows the identity of the character. At the very end of the movie, also, you see he gets, Tony Stark actually offers Peter Parker a spot in the Avengers, and they introduce this new suit, which is kind of the Iron Spider-Man suit, but kind of a callback to the Ben, really should have wrote this down, the clone Spider-Man. I'm sorry, I can't remember right now, but it's kind of a mix of two suits. It's definitely not the Iron Spider suit from like Civil War, where it has like the arms and stuff in the back. I wasn't a fan of that, but it has some gold outline on it, and the spider thing takes up the whole chest. Awesome looking suit, in my opinion. I know a lot of people said they didn't like it. I thought it looked awesome. But anyway, he offers him a spot in the Avengers. He's like, behind this wall are a bunch of reporters. You're going to go out there. You're going to say you're the newest Avenger. You're in. And Peter Parker's like, no, I think I'm just going to be a neighborhood Spider-Man, like you said, for right now. And, go through school and do the right thing. And he's like, you're declining my offer? You're saying no to this? And he's like, yeah. He walks away and he's like, this was a test, right, Tony? Like, this wasn't for real, was it? It was just a test, right? You're just testing me. And because Tony Stark can't, he's like, okay, yeah, I was totally testing you. Yeah. He doesn't want to admit defeat, that he was turned down, essentially. For this kid that really wanted to be an Avenger. And then you get, it was great, Pepper Potts. If only for a moment. Pepper Potts was there, and she's like, Tony, these people are waiting. And so he really was going to become an Avenger, but not yet. But I like that they brought Pepper Potts back. Another thing at the end, next time I do this, I'm going to organize it better. So I want to let you know, I'm kind of all over the place. But I need to address this. Michelle Jones, the friend of Spider-Man, at the end she says, my friends call me MJ. Guys, do not freak out. She's not Mary Jane. She is Michelle Jones. She's it's a twist on an old character with a new character, but she's not Mary Jane. They may do Mary Jane. I don't know if they will or not in this. She's an original character created by them. She's not a comic book character, but don't freak out. I think it's good that they didn't make her MJ because of just kind of her attitude. I don't mind the character. I think she's an okay character, but she doesn't have the same... She doesn't have the same personality as Mary Jane has. It has nothing to do with race, by the way. I would be totally okay with a African-American or Chinese or Mexican Mary Jane. That would be fine. I just don't think she had the personality of Mary Jane. I think that's something that's important, that you keep to the personality of the character more than what the race is. But, so Michelle Jones, and that's fine. She's not Mary Jane, so people stop freaking out over that. I know there's something else I wanted to mention, and another scene I thought was really cool was the scene where my phone starts to fall, and I'm using tape. Very low-tech stuff here. Okay, the scene where he's at the party, and he has to chase down these people, and it's this whole Ferris Bueller thing. He runs out to this golf course, and he's like, there's nothing to swing on. They're in the suburbs. So he runs, and he's running through backyards and everything. Very Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Exactly kind of scene. I think in one of the scenes, one of the people was cooking out and actually watching Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and the scene when he was running through the backyards and stuff. So I thought that was really cool. I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, I know that's kind of weird to put at the end. The after credits scene was hilarious. I don't care that it didn't reveal something huge, even though Infinity War is coming up pretty soon. I thought it was kind of funny. So in the movie, they have a bunch of things with Captain America. Like, oh, you got detention. Well, it's not cool. I know, or the PE, the physical ed thing. He did a thing about physical education. These old videos that it's kind of, it's been a little debated on when those videos took place. Like, did they take place when he was, like, before he was frozen, after he was frozen, because it looked like the original Captain America suit? Nobody knows. And I know it's like VHS wasn't around back then. Things can be converted. We don't need to know when it was filmed and everything like that. But at the end credits afterwards, it's another Captain America PSA about patience and how you're waiting for something, and at the end when you finally get it, it almost doesn't seem like it's worth it. And I was like, oh, that's cold, but hilarious. I liked it. So, that's my review. Glad I kept it really short. Really bad at this. So this is my first kind of full review sort of thing. I'm going to work on it a little bit better, try to write things down, be a little more organized next time. But if I missed anything, I probably did miss a lot of things, because really to go in everything, this would be an hour long. I tried to go through as fast as I could, and I jumped around that movie quite a bit. But anyway, like I said, if you've seen it, you kind of knew what I was talking about. I was just kind of going a little out of order in things. But that being said, that is that. Let me know what you thought about the movie in the comments down below. Like I said, it is currently my favorite Spider-Man movie, above above Spider-Man 2. Sam Raimi, not Amazing Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire. Spider-Man 2, I think that's my second favorite now. And one of the main reasons is because Tom Holland is the perfect Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire was a really good Peter Parker. Andrew Garfield was a really good Spider-Man. Tom Holland's the one that has done both ends, as Peter Parker and as Spider-Man. My opinion. Anyway, let me know what you thought of the movie, and also let me know what your favorite Spider-Man movies are in order, including this one if you've seen it, which I hope you have if you're watching this video. I've rambled on for way too long. I will see you guys later.